Hey Internet, Eric here. Well, I've been mentioning in past videos that I was going to jump in the From Dusk Till Dawn franchise, and I'm doing that tonight. There's three total. Today I'm talking the original, From Dusk Till Dawn. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I discuss plot spoilers, specific scenes, what have you. The Internet, like IMDb and that type of stuff, says this came out in 1996. The credits say 1995, so that's what I'm going with. This came out in 1995. Basic plot of this was written by Quentin Tarantino, directed by Robert Rodriguez. Basic plot of this is we're following the Gecko Brothers, Seth and Richie, played by George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino. Richie breaks Seth out of prison. As that happened, as that happens, they cause a bunch of deaths. They kill some people, and they are trying to make their way to Mexico to meet up with their buddy Carlos, played by Cheech Marin, and he is going to get them into El Rey, some type of sanctuary. To get to Mexico, they have to take hostage a family of a father and two children, teenagers, Harvey Keitel, Ernest Liu, and Juliette Lewis. They cross over the border to Mexico, and they have to wait until morning, and they to at a strip club called the Titty Twister. That's where Carlos is going to meet them, and they find out that the clientele is a bunch of vampires. Spoilers: this is my favorite vampire movie. I absolutely love it. Let's get to the characters first. Seth is played by George Clooney. I only knew George Clooney from either being the sexy doctor with a heart on ER, or like the goofy guy on Roseanne, or Facts of Life, or even fucking Return of the Killer Tomatoes. He's really good in this. He is badass, scary, authoritative, intense. So much the opposite of everything I've seen of him. He will kill you if he needs to. But what I like about him is he's also a killer with a code. He won't kill anyone unless forced to. Perfect example of this is they take a bank teller hostage, and he makes the mistake of leaving the hostage with Richie, who is a known sex offender and psychotic, so he can go scope out the place and get them food. He comes back, and first off, it shows that he actually he has a heart. He doesn't just get him and Richie a burger. He gets a burger for the hostage too. And then he sees what Richie has done. Richie has murdered and raped the hostage, and it sets Seth off. He's asking, "What is this? What are we doing?" He says, "What?" He grabs his brother, literally grabs him by the head, and throws him against the wall. And he says, "We do not do this. I'm a professional fucking thief. I don't fucking rape and murder women." So he's got a code, and that's what I like. Quentin Tarantino plays Richie, like I said, sex fiend and psychotic. Perfect casting because Quentin Tarantino is a freak. I've said many times how I feel about him. I think he just put a little bit of himself in this role. Dangerous, scary. Yes, we know he's a foot freak, okay? So you buy the fact that he is obsessed with Juliette Lewis. There's, of course, the usual he's staring at her feet type of thing. He's imagining her say things to him that she never said. And then you got the scene, of course, where Selma Hayek puts her foot in his mouth. That motherfucker wrote that just so he can have Selma's foot in his mouth. But as much of a psychotic he is, he's got great chemistry with George Clooney. You can tell they're brothers. You can tell he's the younger brother, always being looked after by the older brother, because there's so many things going on, like little things. They're holding the family hostage, and then as Seth is talking to Jacob, Harvey Keitel, he says, "Richie, put in your bit." He wears like a tooth alignment thing or tooth guard or something like that. He says he grinds his teeth as big brother looking up for little brother type of thing. They argue all the time, but they would kill someone to protect the other, and that's good. Harvey Keitel is great as a preacher who has lost his faith due to losing his wife. You feel his pain, you feel his love for his family, and he is a great hero in this. Juliette Lewis, I'm never a fan of hers. She does okay. She plays Kate, the daughter. Ernest Liu, who plays Scott, the son, he's there. He's fine. So many people in this movie. Fred Williamson, big blaxploitation star. He is this big badass dude who is a Vietnam vet. He talks about all the people that he has killed before, and he is so badass. Like he rips a vampire's heart out of its chest. And his buddy Sex Machine, played by Tom Savini, walks by with a wooden pencil and stabs it in the heart. that type of stuff. Tom Savini is probably the star of this when they get to the bar. He's the one with the crotch gun. He's the one with the bull whip. He's the one doing flips and kicks, ripping heads off and stuff like that. Really cool, really fun. Other characters, Selma Hayek, she's just there to look sexy. Boy, does she. When she's dancing with that fucking python. I saw this when I was like 15 years old. Right time to see this. And there's other characters thrown in. Cheech Marin plays 3 characters that are funny. Danny Trejo's in there to be scary and to die as a vampire. The casting is great. The gore is amazing. Like I said, we have a heart ripped out. That scene. We have a scene where Fred Williamson flips a table over, and he is body slamming different strippers onto the legs of the tables to impale them, and we get the impalement showing the blood. There is a scene where Cheech Marin is killed. He's after Juliette Lewis. She takes her cross, her crucifix necklace, shoves it down his throat. He starts melting. His eyes pop, covering her with goo. There are people exploding. There are vampires exploding. There are vampires melting. There are people melting. There are vampires because eventually they find a stockpile of weapons. Jacob, as a preacher, blesses the water. So they fill up some condoms. A vampire gets hit in the head with a condom full of holy water. Half of the face is just melted off. And then the head turns so you can see the inside in white pus and goo. This is a disgusting movie, and it's so much fun. The creativity is so good. When they find that stockpile of weapons I told you, they fill condoms with holy water, super soaker with holy water. Kate finds a crossbow. George Clooney, he finds like a jackhammer or something like that that doesn't have the drill, I guess you would say, put in it. Breaks off a piece of wood, shoves that into the jackhammer, so now he's got a jackhammer fucking stake. And then what I think is the coolest thing is they actually cut crosses into the bullets, so now they can fucking kill vampires just with bullets. The soundtrack is amazing. The Blasters, ZZ Top, Stevie Ray Vaughan. This is a soundtrack I bought when it first came out, and it's still heavy rotation on my iPod. What a lot of people like about this movie, what I like about it too, is if you have not seen the trailer, and if you've only just seen the cover here, you have no idea that it's a vampire movie, because the first half of this movie is like a chase movie. It starts off with this fucking awesome scene where Michael Parks, he's like the Texas Ranger. He's going into a liquor store. He meets Pete, who's the guy behind the counter. They bullshit. He goes to use the bathroom. And George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino, they have 2 female hostages, and they're threatening Pete. And that whole opening sequence where Quentin Tarantino, he's got a screw loose. He thinks Pete's, whispering to the cop. They end up killing the cop. They have this whole shootout and more with Pete. It's a fantastic opening sequence. And it's pure fun. Then the rest of the movie is just a lot of dialogue in between the Fuller family and the Geckos. And it's great dialogue. You can't help but being enthralled. Like, one of my favorite conversations is between Seth and Jacob. And Seth says, "You've seen the way my brother looks at your daughter, right?" "Yes." "Do you like that?" "No, I don't." "Jacob, if you get us across the border safely, I guarantee you your family will be fine. I give you my word." And then Jacob says, if your brother touches one hair on my daughter's head, I will kill him." And then Seth literally says, "Fair enough." That type of stuff. Great. So much fun. From beginning to end. I absolutely fucking love this movie. Are there some problems? The only problem I have with this, the practical effects are amazing. Okay? These vampires look so different. They have the art, how would you say, the thick brow, fangs. They all look different. Their noses are different. Some of these look reptilian. When Selma Hayek turns into a vampire, she's got scales and stuff like that. She looks like a fucking snake. If you look closely, there is a vampire that has a mouth in its stomach, and it's all bloody. So these aren't just vampires like that. They're all different, and they're all creative. So the practical effects are great. problem is when it's CGI. When Selma is killed, she melts into a puddle of goo. It's not good at all. You literally just see her breathing heavy, and then suddenly she disappears and bloop, the goop. When someone is killed and they literally melt, it just goes and it just kind of it's very lame. The reason why I think it stick out so much is because the practical effects are so fucking good in this. So, and then there's some confusing stuff like why the hell is one of them turning into a giant rat creature? I think that was Tarantino, or not Tarantino. Robert Rodriguez just having an oh what the fuck moment. Um, Little stuff like that that you might not get, but I love this film so much. It's so quotable. The characters are great. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Juliette Lewis. She's okay in this. But all the characters are great. The music is great. The gore is great. The action is great. It's got a party atmosphere. I love when they pull into the titty twister. ZZ Top, She's Just Killing Me is playing. One of my favorite ZZ Top songs that they did just for this movie. And you got flames going. The titty twister, sign is lit up in the back. Guys on bikes and Harleys, just circling around. It's a party atmosphere. You're ready. You're pumped up. You're ready for shit happening. Fantastic way to set the mood for the action that is non-stop. And like I said, the creativity when it comes to some of the kills. Danny Trejo killed on a pool table. His eyes fall into the side pockets or the corner pockets. Stuff like that. Someone gets a gun a vampire gets his gun shoved, a shotgun into his stomach, and the hero, I guess you would say, I'm not gonna say who, has to pump it, but he can't because it's blocked by the stomach. So he literally he moves that so the vampire goes back and forth to pump the gun. The creativity, like I said, is amazing. I'm going a mile a minute, but that's because I fucking love this movie. My favorite vampire movie of all time. People love Fright Night. People love The Lost Boys. I fucking love From Dusk Till Dawn. I highly, highly recommend it despite its CGI faults. And the ending is just kind of, yeah. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Click the bell. Comment below. Tell me what you think of this movie. If you've seen it before, what do you like about it? What do you hate about it? Do you not want to see it? Favorite lines. Post them in anything and everything. Anything and everything that anyone says in this movie is a fantastic quote. Coming up next, part 2. There is a third one. And then Full Tilt Boogie, that is just a documentary on making From Dusk Till Dawn. I'm not going to discuss that. I remember watching it and it being boring. But From Dusk Till Dawn, highly, highly recommend this one. Part 2 is coming next with Danny Trejo, Robert Patrick, and a couple other recognizable people. Bruce Campbell's in there for some reason. Anyways, that's it. I've rambled enough. I praised this enough. Like I said, I'm excited because this is how I am when I talk about movies I love. We'll see you soon. Cheers.